Okay, so we looked at the 12 principles of animation video.
Thomas and Ollie
It's this
Johnston.
one here called The Illusion of Life.
Squash and stretch. This
So,
action gives the illusion of weight and
I'd like you
volume
make
to a
sure you take
character
look
as
at
it moves.
that. The Illusion of Life, Principles of Animation. It's pretty easy to find on YouTube. Okay, so what we've done is, what we're going to do is make a new shelf. And I'll give it a name. I'll just call it Anim. Okay. All right. We've downloaded the Azri rig. We're only working with controls. And the controls are the curves. And you can see the icon here for a curve. What we don't want to do is move a null group. We don't want to animate, at least usually, a constraint. We don't want to animate bones or joints. In this case, these are being driven by a constraint, but we don't want to animate those. So you got to be really careful, both in rigging and animation. Again, here with the selection mask, turn everything off but the curves. So that's the industry standard for animation. So what I just did is I took this main curve and I moved it back. And I maintain that this main curve is best used to just position the character, and then I tend to forget it, okay? Now, there are controllers on this rig that will move the character. So there's the foot. And so after I move something, I always hit Z to put it back where it was. So both the foot controls, you can move. You can take this main waist control, and you can move that. So, let me see here really quick. Okay, and then this one right here is a twist control for the leg. But fortunately, that is parented to the foot. So we really only have 3 main controls to worry about in order to move the character forward. Okay? So rather than coming in and selecting each one of these every time I want to move them or key them, here's our first look at the script editor. So if we come down here to the lower right, open the script editor. Or we can go to Windows, General Editor, Script Editor. Okay, the script editor has 2 parts. It's got a history window and an input window. And it's really cool, the history window, because it spits out a history of every command that you've run, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this icon, I'm going to clear the history, and now I'm going to come back and I'm going to select those 3 translation controls. So I'm going to select this box, I'm going to shift select the other foot box, and then I'm going to shift select the red hip control. Okay, so we can see here select. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these. This is from the history. Control middle mouse button. I'm making these bigger. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to middle mouse drag them down to the input. Now on the input, we see that these are now highlighted in teal, and they are, they have the italics on them. This means that that's a Maya command. Okay? Maya commands also have flags. And so what this is saying is select recursive the control, the control L foot control. So that's selecting, and then select toggle the right foot control and toggle the root. So I'm often going to key all three of those at the same time. So I'm going to just select it, middle mouse drag, and I'm going to put this on the shelf. Okay, so now what I have, so if I click here, now nothing is selected, and then if I click up here on the M, it automatically selects the feet and the hips. Yeah.
What's the difference between /R and the /toggle?
Uh-huh.
What's the difference between them?
Well, so they stand for recursive and toggle. Recursive means that, say if I had, a bunch of stuff selected, but if I just did the recursive and then that, it's going to deselect everything else and just select those. So we're going to get into these commands more, and these commands all have flags. If we put them into Python, they will be in parentheses where they're often true or false, whatever the flag is. If I right-click this, go to Edit. Okay, so here's the commands. And then if I go over to the Shelves tab, then I can see this button. So it's just a command button. I can give it a label. So I'll just call this Tran, just for translation. For the icon label, and then just click Save All Shelves. Okay, so now I've got a button that selects my translate controls. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is let's start animating so we don't run out of time. So we're going to animate a jump, right? So what we're going to do, so let's start by selecting the hip, and then we're just going to move it down. You can see how the IK works there actually, no, sorry. Let's start at more of like a neutral pose. So here what I'm going to do is just maybe move this one back a little bit. I'm going to go to the shoulder, and I'm going to press the E button. That's for rotate. So I'm going to rotate that down a little bit. From the side, I can rotate it back a little. So essentially what I want to do is just make the character look a little more natural. These don't have to be exactly symmetrical. I'm just trying to make them look a little natural. And you could maybe even turn the head a little bit if you wanted. Okay. Yeah, so the idea is just, not to make it look like it's starting from like a frozen character. Okay, so I'm on frame 0. I set this first pose, which is sort of natural. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of the controls. Again, just the curves. And I'm at frame 0, and what I'm going to do is just hit the S key, and that's going to keyframe, put the first keyframe on every one of those controls. Okay? All right, so that's frame 0. We're going to animate at 30 frames per second. And if you're not set at 30 frames per second, then you can change it here. So 24 frames per second is film. We'll do 30 frames per second for animation. Okay, so if I were to come down to this anticipation for a jump. So 1001, so 1001, 1002, maybe about a half a second. That'd be about 15 keys. So I'm going to move to frame 15. 15 or 16, it doesn't matter. So now what I'm going to do is then take this one, let's move it down. I'm going to move it back a little bit. Okay. I could rotate it. Yeah, let's just do that for now, just to. Now I could just come in here and now watch how I select the controls for the spine. So I'm not grabbing all of them. I'm just grabbing these 3. Yeah, I'll do it again. So I've got 3 that I've selected. Okay, I think I might have selected more than those. Let's do it this way. So I'm going to just rotate those, and what happens is it rotates all 3 of them, so you get kind of a bend. For the head, I'm going to move the head up. Now the hair is going to kind of intersect the body. There are hair controls. We're not going to worry about them right now. So if I come down like this, my knees aren't bent too far forward, but my hips are bent a little further backward. So that tells me that I should probably move back a little bit. I might have come down just a little too far. Okay. Now, I forgot to tell you guys to turn on auto keyframe. So I'm going to turn it on. That's this red button. But I should have done that before I did this pose. So now what I'm going to need to do is just select them all again and hit S. Okay, so now you can scrub back and forth between 1 and 15. You've got the character moving down. Yeah, so that's 1 and 15. Now, I talked about anticipation. So we're going to come down. And what I want to do is kind of hold it, but also kind of swing the arms back. So I'm going to swing them back more after the fact. So hopefully this will make sense here. So I'm coming back to 15. I'm going to grab okay. So I'm going to grab the two shoulder controls. Again, I'm at frame 15. I've got auto key on, the little red button here. I turned it red. Now, I can, if you see the green axis here, that's the axis that they're rotating on. So I'm just going to rotate this forward a little bit. Now, because I've got auto key on, it's automatically going to keyframe them there. Yeah. Louder, please.
Oh, where did you say auto key was?
Auto key is in the lower right-hand corner. See where my mouse is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for asking. Any other questions? Okay.
Just thinking, would it better for like at the natural pose? Should we like move the legs a little bit outer?
What do you mean?
Oh, no, nothing. It's just like a little bit detail about the toes.
The toes,
Yeah, should we move the toe in this way?
if you want. Yeah. Okay. So I've got the first keyframe to the second keyframe where the character is moving down. And now what I want to do is put in the anticipation. So I'm going to go like maybe to frame 24. Actually, let's go to like frame, maybe frame 20. And I still have the shoulder selected, so I'm going to move them back now. And I'm also going to sort of grab these keys here on the torso and have them come down. Whoops. Have them come down even a little bit more. And I might want to even straighten them a little bit more. And just to show maybe a little bit of overlap and follow through, even gonna sort of rotate the hand back. Okay, so that was a little quick when the hands went back. Man, I wonder if I accidentally deleted my frame 15 keys. No. Okay, so now I'm going back to frame 15. I'm just going to bring the arms forward a little bit. Because I think they were moving too fast. Okay, so now they come down and her arms go back. They go back a little too fast. So, here's what I'm going to do. Something about keyframing you should know. Now, everybody look up here for a second. Everybody look up here, please. Okay, with the left mouse button, I can drag the slider and everything will update. With the middle mouse button, I can drag the slider, but it doesn't update. Now this is on purpose because it allows you to set a keyframe at a different point. So this is what I'm going to do. With the left button, I'm going to go here. Now with the middle mouse button, I can move it out a little bit further, like maybe to 28. And then I'm going to set a key here. And then I'm going to delete, right-click and just delete frame 20. So with the middle mouse button, so again, left mouse button, left mouse button will update the whole thing. Middle mouse button won't update it. So you could maybe get to like a pose where you want it to go, and then middle mouse button to, you know, add a key with that same pose. It's almost like copying and pasting poses. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is something called a moving hold, and I'm just going to sort of keep everything in the same place. So I'm going to add yet another key here for everything. So I've got it all selected. I'm on 36, and so like from 28 to 36, I'm holding the key. Now, when you do that, it's probably a good idea to, you know, add some more variation to it so that it's not just, you know, frozen in place. Okay, so here we've got the lean down and a anticipation, and so the next key is going to be a jump up. So if I'm here, 1001, 1002, 1000, again, maybe almost a second. So I'm going to go, I don't know, let's go to maybe frame 58, 60. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the character. And I told you guys earlier that I selected these, you know, the hips and the feet as translation controls. So again, I'm up to frame 60 here, and so I'm just going to click that. And those are the only ones I need for now. And so now what I'm going to do is move the character up and over. Okay. Yeah.
We select which button to like lift to have the whole control of the
That's why I made it a
Yep.
all right. So now I'm going to take both the feet. Let's move them back in IK. Let's rotate them here. Oh, never mind. I want to rotate them with these controls. Now, the thing about IK, it can get a little squirrely. So as I rotate the foot down, you'll notice that the leg looks like it locks. So you usually don't want that to happen. So I'm just going to bend it up a little bit. or push it up a little. Okay, now I'm going to grab just all those motion keys again, and I'm going to come up just a little bit further. Okay, and so by now, then I'm going to take these keys, and you can make a selection set for those as well, the same way we did earlier. Let's put a little bit more of a curve in those. And this one I'm going to move a little bit more forward. And then I'm going to take the arms and I'm going to bring those up. So selecting and rotating. Let's take this and just move it down a little bit. So the main thing here is, I want to get a good pose. You want it to look natural. So let's move that out a little bit. This out a little. And I'm going to take both of the wrists and sort of rotate those up a little. Okay. And so I've had auto keyframe on there. So now let's just go ahead and, right, so there's the bend down, the anticipation, the holding the anticipation, and then a jump up. Okay, and what do you guys think about the timing here? Okay, now remember, I'm keeping this controller where it was. I'm not animating this. So I'm going to hit the trans key again, and then just maybe move it up a little higher, a little bit more forward. Take these and move them up. So we're really just blocking things out. We're just getting the main timing. Okay, now I'm going to go to the next key. And I'll maybe put that like at, I don't know, maybe 78. Now what I'm going to do is go to this trans key again. I've moved to 78. Hit the W key for move, and I'm going to come over here and go like that. And let's take the legs and push them forward. Let's rotate them up. The feet, that is. So this is the landing. Can rotate this up a little bit. With these torso controls, I can straighten out the back a little. So the hands are still sort of up when the character first comes in contact with the floor. Okay, and then we've got some overlap and follow through. And that's going to happen, maybe move up to 92. So then I'm going to take just this key, I'm going to move it down. I'm going to take these again, rotate them, E. And then with the arms, I can, whoops, select those, rotate them down. And I could rotate the head down. Okay. Now, what I like to do, there are other animators that would disagree with me, but just in order to keep track of my keys, I like to go select everything. And if all my controls are selected, you'll see where all my keys are. And with the period and comma or the forward arrow or backward arrow, I can, with everything selected, if I hit S, go to the next key, S, 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 next key, S. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my graph editor. So if I go to Windows, Workspaces, I'm going to go to Animation. And then I've got all my, you can see all of my keyframes here for everything that's selected. And so in the graph editor, you can adjust them. Okay, so she goes down, back, jump. I think the timing of that might have been a little slow. I'm also going to look at this, and I'm going to look at the translate Y. Okay. So, this is, this is stuff that I would talk about much more in the animation class. This doesn't have to be perfect. I just want you guys to understand what you're building, what the animators are going to do with it, and, you know, I think you should spend some time animating in order to, and play with the rig in order to, you know, just get an idea of what it is you're doing when you're rigging. Okay? So this doesn't have to be perfect, but if you notice here, this is the translate Y of the hips key. So it moves up, and this is the slope of the curve of height. It's the value over time. The Y curve happens to be the height. So it jumps up kind of fast, but the curve is a little more shallow on the backside. So what that means is it's going to come up faster and then go down slower. But that isn't how physics works. It's going to come down about as fast. So I'm going to come back again and select everything. And so I think what I'm going to do is just move a few keys around. So I think I'm just going to take the last two sets of keys and I'm going to move them. And the way you move them, if you hold down hit W. So I've selected all these keys. Make sure everything is selected. So it's the shift and middle mouse button, and then I'm just dragging it back in time a little bit, just to kind of speed it up. Okay. Now, I'm going to make another in-between key, because right here the feet would still be pushing off. So I'm going to take the feet and I'm going to just take them and push them back down a little further. Auto key is on. Okay, so this is what you do if you're animating to block out a move. It's not an animation class, but I just, again, want you to be able to do this. I'm also going to want you guys to do just a simple walk cycle. I think what I'm going to do is make a video for that, because we won't get through it. So, this is essentially, you come and show up, do your best, make a jump. I'm going to have you do a walk, turn it in. It'll be due on Tuesday, and then we're going to start rigging. But this is just to introduce you to animation, keyframes, IK, FK, and overlap and follow through, that kind of stuff. Now, there are more keys that we could add it. So for instance, at frame 15, so if we open the hair, if we make the hair controls visible, okay, so I'm going to take off the base controls, but just make the hair controls visible. Well, I guess I can't do that. So, base. Yeah, so this is probably where I would make another selection set. Go to Anim. So let's open the script editor. Let's clear the history. So I'm just going to select these hair curves. So where are they? I'm just going to select one of them and come down and see where they are in the hierarchy. Okay, so here's the head. There we go. So there's the hair controls. So I'm going to pick these 3 curves. And you can see here I selected them. Middle mouse drag. And let's just put them up here. Right click. I can just call it hair 1. Save shelves. Okay. So frame 1, I'm going to make sure that I key them, or frame 0 rather. As we go down to frame 15, you can see that the hair penetrates through the body. So here I'm going to want to, rotate them out. Looks like I need to go up further a little bit too, like maybe to this one. Yikes. Okay, then for these, yeah, it's just going to be, it's a little, the reason I have you guys look at this rig because, one, it's from a, it's from this book. This website's got some good references on it, but it also, has this complex rig here. Oh, dang it. Yeah, and then so I need to come back and key these top ones, put them back where they started. Oh, that one wasn't keyed. Yeah, so you have to kind of put like an anchor key in, and then the next key. But so, this is making the hair, stay out. You'll also notice that there are controls for the cloth. Okay, so let's start here. So these are these little boxes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Q to just get in selection mode. And I'm going to select each one of these boxes. Okay, so I'm going to, at frame 0, I'm going to hit S to keyframe them. And then at frame 15, I'm going to rotate them out so that they, let's see, which way they go. Yikes. Yeah, so I'm rotating them up so that, oh, brother. What's axis are they? Okay, so they're moving on the Z axis. So go here to frame 15, take the Z axis, which is this one. So I'm rotating them up so that they, they stick out from the maybe I should just do one at a time. Okay. Up, C axis. Yeah, so I mean, I'd have to fumble around with that a little bit more and kind of slowly take the cloth and kind of maybe add a few more keys in when I animate it. But, so this is why I'm showing you this rig. We've got controls for the cloth. We've got controls for twist joints, controls for fingers, controls for hair. But you're usually not going to worry about the hair, fingers, all this other stuff till you block in, like the main motion. tell you there's something else going on with this here. I need to look at the Z translate. Oh, that's okay, I guess. Okay. So in my animation class, we use a much simpler rig to get walking and locomotion down. This is going to be a very complex game rig. You know, probably be for a, you know, it could be for like a AAA title. Now, we're in a point in time where using engines like Unreal, Unity, where a lot of this stuff like cloth and hair could be set up to just take advantage of physics in a game engine. So I think what we're going to do is look at both of those options. Hopefully we'll have time to look at how we would just set up the hair for, you know, animation in a game engine. It's still going to take a lot of setup and finesse if you're in Unreal. A lot of times it's probably easier to simulate it in Maya and then bake it all out. That's something I will talk about also on Tuesday. So, is this helpful to kind of get a better idea of how rigs work? Okay. So, we're doing this jump. I'm also going to have you submit a very simple walk, and I will provide you a video instruction for that. I'll probably have that done by Saturday, and then you want to have it done on Tuesday. Okay? And I will update Canvas so you have a place to submit it. And then on Tuesday, we're going to get rocking and rolling with creating skeletons and doing skin weighting, and start at the beginning. But there's a specific reason why I want you to do a walk cycle. And it has to do with the hips. Now, see what I'm doing here with the hips? The hips are rotating independently. That's why I want you guys to animate a walk, so that you understand how important it is, because you're going to have to rig it. Okay? I had, when I first taught the class a couple of times, I just got right into the rigging and I didn't really show the animation. And that was a mistake. I should have showed it first. So, any questions? All right, so I recorded this. I'll post it. Probably won't be able to get it up until Saturday. So I got a lot of stuff I got to do with department stuff this week. But thanks a lot. Have yourselves a great day.